So this section, 3.5, is not as long as some of the other sections, but it's on dividing polynomials. And we have to know how to divide them to be able to do some of the things we're going to do later on. So it's an important section. First, I'm going to review long division. Now, you might remember learning this at some point, but let's say we have 23. We're going to divide it into 2031. So you might remember, making the division house. I forget what it's called anyway. And looking at the 23, and you're saying, how many times will 23 go into? And then you're looking at the 203 for this problem, right? So you think, okay, well, I think it's going to go in 8 times. So you put the 8 up there, and then you multiply the 8 times the 23. So you get 4, and you carry the 2, and then 16, 17, 18, and then you have to subtract, and you get a remainder of 19. Then you have to bring down the next term, right? The next number in the division problem, 191 now. So now we're going to see how many times does 23 go into 191. Well, it goes into at least 8 times, right? Because of the 184. So we'll put an 8 up here, and then we'll go again. We're going to get 184. That's that multiplication again. And then we're going to subtract, and we get 7. And we refer to the 7 as the remainder. Now, you may have learned to write 88. In the old days, they might have let you put R7. And then later they said, I have to scroll this up. They said, no, we want you to use a fraction. So 88 and 7 over 23. Okay? So that's a review of long division. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take these same ideas and apply it to polynomials. Okay? It's going to look a little bit different. But here's my polynomial. That would be the dividend. And then here's my divisor. So you put the divisor on the outside, x plus 2. And then make the long division house. And then you put the dividend inside. 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 4x plus 5. And then we start dividing. Now to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the first term here and the first term there. We're not going to look at anything else. You have to make sure your polynomial, both the dividend and the divisor, are in standard form with the highest exponent first. Okay, but we'll go over that again. All right, so I'm thinking, what do I multiply x by so that it will look exactly like a 2x cubed? That's my thought process. So I get 2x squared. And I usually write it right there. Now, if you're having trouble with that part, that division, you could go over here to the side and you're taking 2x, oops, let me change that. This first video might be kind of long. 2x cubed divided by x. And that, see how that gets you the 2x squared? So you could always write that out to the side if you're having trouble seeing it. Okay, now we've got the division. We did the dividing. Now we do the multiplying. So we're multiplying 2x squared times x. That's going to be 2x cubed. We knew that. That's what we were planning to have happen. But you also have to multiply 2x squared times 2, which is going to be plus 4x squared. Okay? All right, and then I usually tell my students, get yourself a nice sign-changing pen. I don't know if you want it to be orange, but the next part is to subtract. And you have to subtract both of them, okay? So don't forget, to distribute that minus sign. That's a common mistake. Okay, so these cancel out, 2x cubed and minus 2x cubed. Those are out. And then now I'm going to have negative 3x squared minus 4x squared. That's going to be negative 7x squared. Okay? And then I bring down the next term, plus 4x. And now I'm going to go through the whole process again. So I'm looking at how many times does x go into 7x squared? And again, you could write it over here, minus 7x squared. I don't know if I said minus before, but it's negative. And then what do you get? You get negative 7x. So that's how many times it goes in, minus 7x. Now we have to do the multiplying. So I multiply negative 7x times x. That gets me my negative 7x squared, which we were hoping that would happen. But then you have to multiply negative 7x times 2x, which is going to be negative 14x. Okay? Now I have to change the signs. And I've got the same color going here, but I'll put it in green. So change that to plus, and that's the subtracting. So you're adding the opposite. That's the subtracting. Okay. These cancel out, negative 7x squared and positive 7x squared. And then what's 4x and 14x? 18x. And then you're going to bring down that 5. Okay, I'm kind of running out of room, but one more time. So how many times does x go into 18x? Or you're thinking over here, 18x divided by x. That's going to be 18. So that's going to be a plus 18. It's positive. Then I'm going to multiply. I'm running out of colors here. 18 times x. We knew that was going to happen. And then 18 times 2. And 18 times 2 is 36. All right, now you've got to change those signs. So change this sign, change this sign. That's the subtracting part. And then what do I get for a remainder? These cancel out. I'm getting a negative 31 for the remainder. Okay, that's the division process. Now, right underneath here, I have those terms that I've been using. The dividend, that was the long polynomial right there. That was the 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 4x plus 5. That was the dividend. It's what we're dividing into. The divisor, that's the one on the outside, in this case, x plus 2. That was what we were dividing by. The quotient is our answer right up here, 2x squared minus 7x plus 18. And then the remainder for us was negative 31. Okay? All right. Now, there's what we call the division algorithm. The division algorithm says this. It says if you have a polynomial, f of x, okay, and you divide it, then you can take the divisor, so the divisor, d of x, times the quotient, which is another polynomial, plus the remainder. These are all polynomials, okay? So that's the notation that they use in the book. So I wanted to show you that because it's pretty common. But it says the dividend, okay, equals the divisor times the quotient. I'm writing it in words so you can see it, plus the remainder. So if you want to check something, you want to check to see if we did this right, you would take the divisor, x plus 2, and you'd multiply it by the quotient, 2x squared minus 7x plus 18, and you'd add the remainder, and that would have to equal the original dividend. Now, I wasn't going to do this for you, but let's go ahead and do it. Just make this video a little longer. Okay, so let's make sure it's right. So I multiply. I get 2x cubed minus 7x, minus 7x squared. So I'm multiplying here, I'm distributing, plus 18x. And then I'm going to have 2 times 2x squared, which is a positive 4x squared. I have a negative 14x. I have a 36. And then I also still have that minus 31. So what do I get? 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 4x minus 5. And is that what it was supposed to be? I compare it over here. Yep. So that was the check. We don't always check them, but you can. And then this concept's going to come up later on about the division algorithm. Okay, so that is long division with polynomials.